that thing at the beginning of a video again. I wish Instagram would give me something like a riddle, like, what color is the sky on Mondays? So that'd be something I could do in the first 30 minutes, the first 30 seconds of the stream, but that's okay. Welcome to Tea Practice today. Hope that you guys are having a good weekend. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit up my alley as usual. It's going to be a teaware comparison. I would like for us to test out the effects of 3 pitchers on the taste of our tea. We're going to use a wood-fired pitcher from Taiwan. We're going to use a glass pitcher, which is our classic pitcher from most of our experiments. And then we will use a porcelain pitcher, which, you know, more or less will be the same material as the 3 cups that we'll be using today. And as we go through this test today, I want you guys to think about which kinds of pitchers you guys have at home that you can try to use to try to change the flavor of your tea, or at least be a little bit, you know, thinking about what the effect of the pitcher, you know, might be on your tea. But, you know, a lot of you have been here for our teaware test before, and you know that the things that I find might not necessarily match your findings with your own tea, your own teaware. Even if you have a glass pitcher, even if you have a porcelain pitcher, it might be a different material, different factory, different maker than mine. So, you know, take note of what we find out with our test today, but do it at home too, with your own pitcher and your own stuff. Yeah. Sounds good? Yeah, we'll get started. Let's say hi to our friends. Hi to Z Andy, Tyler from Hakuna Matala, Eric from Tea Sleuth, Nicole from Tea For Me Please. Tea For Me Please too, thanks. Take that too. Jeremy, bonsoir. And 23 Aslol, welcome to today's tea practice. Happy Saturday. We've been trying to figure out if Saturday is the right time to do these lives. We're not quite sure yet. It seems like, you know, I picked Saturday in the afternoon because it seems like Europe friends might be able to catch us before they go to sleep late Friday nights. And it seems like a lot of you are off on Saturdays too, so we've been testing it out. And then Fridays, you know, I like Friday too. Whatever works. We've been trying to figure it out. We'll see. Either way, I hope you guys have had a wonderful week this week. Stuff is starting to open up for us here in Vegas, but Steven and I are kind of sitting tight still. Why go outside when we can have tea, right? For today's test, we will be using a Camellia sinensis tea. Welcome, Camellia sinensis. We will be using the... Just making sure I have the right bag, because I have a bunch of your bags. The Jun Chiyabari from Nepal. It's an autumn flush from last year. Why I picked it, I just noticed we haven't been doing a lot of black tea lately. I have a huge oolong bias. We've been working a lot on pu'er and on green tea. We did some white tea experiments last week. So for this particular experiment, where we'll be trying to compare the effects of the 3 pitchers on the tea, we'll be using the Jun Chiyabari from Camellia sinensis. And let me get you a shot of that tea in a little bit. Yeah. Again, different teas will react differently with different kinds of teaware. Know that, you know, when you're looking at your tea leaves, the color of the tea will, you know, reflect a different kind of chemical composition within the tea, right? Darker tea leaves will have a little bit more like the black tea compounds, like theorubigens and theaflavins. It's very complicated what actually factors into the color of a tea, but it makes sense, right? If a tea is, you know, a black color, if a tea is a green color, or a green tea, black tea, the flavor also translates into just a different chemical composition, and so those different compounds will react differently to the compounds in our teaware, right? And if any of you are clay collectors, you know, silver teaware aficionados, what's happening is that there's not just a magical, like, wow, silver is magical, it makes tea taste better. What we're trying to understand is what exactly is causing that improvement or effect to happen. And, you know, if you read up on some research articles, that's good too. But even better if you just test it yourself. Yeah, so here's the Jun Chiyabari from Camellia sinensis. Some of you guys are Camellia sinensis family over here. You guys must know this tea really well. I know this tea pretty well now, you know, not so well, but I've had a couple sessions with it. I really like it. So I think I'm okay doing it for this experiment, as always. If you are doing an experiment for the first time, try to pick a tea that you know relatively well. and like, you know, because what's the point of using a bad tea to test if you're not going to want to drink it anyway? The good thing is, even if this is an experiment, if I so happen to find a good match for the Jun Chiyabari, then that's great, because I actually like the Jun Chiyabari. I can figure out what matches that tea for me to use just to design my own like flavor, aroma experience when I do brew it. Yeah. Does that make sense? Delphine? Jeremy? Camille Sinensis fan? Luca V28, I saw you popped in, welcome. And Karen from Green Hall Tico. And Shiloh, welcome, welcome. Hope you guys are having a nice Saturday. What are you guys drinking right now? We'll be drinking a black tea from Nepal, Jun Chiyabari. Legendary, folks, with the perfect leaves. Man, yeah, this is an amazing Nepalese tea. I have been to Nepal before. I've been a couple times, but never had the opportunity to go to Jun Chiyabari. And there's quite a range of quality in Nepal, as you would expect from, you know, kind of new-ish tea region or less established tea region. But, you know, think about it. Yunnan's got like centuries and centuries to work on this stuff. Nepal has only had like a few hundred years at most that we know of. And, you know, if you give them a couple centuries, I'm sure they'll catch up to Yunnan, right? Don't tell Yunnan Tea Master that. Okay, we preheated our teaware. What I will do is I'm going to brew the tea in a gaiwan. I can't just pour the tea straight into the cups because I need to put them in the pitchers. And I can't just put infusion 1 into 1, infusion 2 into pitcher 2, infusion 3 into pitcher 3. So to try to get them, you know, about even distribution, I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Shiloh, you're here. That's perfect. It's 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I think is the best way to go about it. Because you're going light, medium, dark. Medium-ish again, lighter. I mean, darker, darkest. So lightest, light, medium, dark, darkest. So you're kind of like distributing the intensity of the tea a little bit evenly, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'll just show you how to do it. It's not going to be perfect, but, you know, it's going to be a relatively good approximation. Then I'll do this a couple times just to make sure and kind of mix it up a little bit, just so I have pretty even infusions. Yeah, should be good. So we'll call the wood-fired pitcher over here, pitcher 1, pitcher 2, pitcher 3. Okay.
Do you use LearnDash for online courses? Hey
Steven, how's it going?
Just random advertisements start playing.
I guess, yeah. Steven likes to watch TV while we do our lives here at Tea Curious, because he's seen all of them. He's seen every single one, so understandably he gets bored. Shiloh on the 8th infusion of an osmanthus-scented ancient tree, red tea from grass people tree. It's a lot of tree, which is good. 8th infusion too, quite a bit. So here's the second infusion of this tea. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 again. Again, we're gonna do wood-fired Taiwanese pitcher, the glass pitcher, and then the porcelain pitcher right here. Yeah. And like Shiloh was saying already, our resident teaware whiz, of a few, but you know, I really love Shiloh. Heat retention concentration is likely going to increase from glass to porcelain to wood-fired porcelain stoneware. And what Shiloh is saying is that, you know, not just the material is coming into play here, like just what components are inside the glass, what chemical compounds are on the surface of these teawares, but also the way that they maintain heat is also going to play a difference in how they taste in the cup as well. Yeah, already I feel like the glass is a little bit cooler. It's a little bit open wide, you know, open mouth too. So of these three, note that the glass pitcher has the widest mouth as well. So which one do you think is going to get cooled down the fastest, right? It's going to be the glass, because it's got more space for the air to kind of like come in, cool the surface of the tea, so it's going to cool down a little bit faster, this one here. So heat retention, material, the way that the pitcher pours will make a difference too. I can't tell you exactly how every single pitcher will react. So again, the best way to do it versus, you know, waiting for me to break down all the scientific compounds and components is to just try it. Yeah. All right. So, you know, I think I did a pretty good job on this. They're relatively even in amount, I would say. So again, we'll call this pitcher A. This is a Taiwanese wood-fired pitcher. It's been, it looks like it's been painted. What? Whoa, but this is actually a ash-glazed pitcher. It's a heavy pitcher. I shouldn't use my left hand for it, or I should just practice more at my left hand. I almost dropped it there. Whew! But this here is the bare clay that you can kind of see that's been exposed to the heat in the kiln. And then you can see kind of where the ash has kind of landed on the surface of the clay and actually like vitrified. Is that the right word for it, Shiloh? Vitrified? Like melted onto the surface and become a different kind of like material. And the inside too has that effect. And then your glass. I'd say always going to be the best for just looking at the color of the tea. I will say glass is not my favorite. I'm going to say that this will probably be the least favorite out of the three. Just since I don't like the effect of glass as much. But we'll see, yeah. But I still will always take a sacrifice in taste, just for the kind of presentation aspect of it. Yeah, there's something just really stunning about something super clear like this. Look at how nice the Jun Chiyabari looks in the light. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, maybe just a little bit, but you can see the little hairs, the peko, just floating around. It's a very fuzzy tea. Nepalese teas grown at high elevation like that are very fuzzy. And then our last one, picture number 3, is going to be the porcelain. Shiloh looks pretty high-fired. Is that right? It's got that kind of like glassy thing going on. You know, I'm not 100% on teaware, you know, just descriptions, but I don't mind kind of like putting it out there to see if I'm right or wrong. Don't be afraid to like make judgments on your teaware and then ask someone else to confirm if it's right or wrong for you. I think we gotta like get away from this whole, you gotta be right from the beginning always, and then otherwise we'll cancel you. There's so many things that I've had to like relearn and learn and, you know, figure out over time. So if you're not completely sure, as long as you're open to learning and open to someone else who might know a little bit more to correct you, then no problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. Here's the foot, Shiloh, which shows the bare clay. That's the base of this wood-fired pitcher right here. Yeah. So it's from Taiwan. All 3 of these are from well, no, these are both from Taiwan, this is from China. So, all right, you guys ready? Actually, one more thing, let's smell just the aroma. I'm interested to see if there's a difference in the smell. All right, has a nice, deep, you know, pretty well-developed smell, I think, from the wood-fired pitcher. Glass doesn't smell too bad. I'd say maybe just a little bit lighter compared to the wood fire. This one has more of like an earthy, almost like root vegetable smell to it. This one smells more bright. And then this last one, wow, actually has the least smell. But I think this is the sweetest one. So the porcelain one has less smell than the glass, which I think is, usually I get more aroma from porcelain, but I think the shape of this particular pitcher isn't as great for conducting aroma. It kind of curves in right here and then flares out at the top. Something about that shape just doesn't do as well for aroma for me, which is why a lot of the wine glasses that you see in the outside world, quote unquote, have this kind of shape from this pitcher here. Yeah, we'll see. So we've done look, the aroma. Glass is my favorite look, followed probably by the porcelain. You can kind of see the color of the tea. And then the wood-fired, Does look nice too. It's not going to be really obvious from, I don't think I can angle it well enough to show you, but it looks kind of like really nice and golden in the inside of the wood fire pitcher. Okay, let's go for it. Using identical cups. And those of you who are joining us, let us know what you guys are drinking. I think I saw you pop in, Marco, from Steep Tea. Who else popped in just now? Dr. Kathleen Funk. And I missed a couple things you guys said. Trying to decide, but I think I'll do a Taiwanese Four Seasons, Tyler says. Jeremy says Jun Chiyabari Party. I like that. I hope you guys are starting your Jun Chiyabari Party already. Alright, let's see how the teas look like in the cups. I think I did a pretty good job of portioning them out so that the tea was even in the effusions. Pretty similar color. I will say that sometimes the tea will change color when you put it into a particular pitcher, especially if the pitcher is a little bit more kind of more porous. I expect that's because there's a tiny bit of trace mineral that's introduced into the tea when you put the tea into an unglazed pitcher. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I noticed when we have even just a tiny bit of an adjustment in the mineral content of the water, it tends to make teas darker. So that's why I think teas that get served out of or brewed in unglazed teaware will sometimes look a little bit darker in the same like infusion style and parameters as something that's brewed in glass or porcelain, because it's a tiny bit of trace minerals getting into the tea. But have I proved it in the lab? No. Is it enough for me to work with? Yeah, pretty much. Until someone tells me, then I'll stick to that. It works for me. Okay, let's test these guys out. Guesses as to which one will do the best. You know, my favorite out of all of these is honestly my porcelain pitcher. It depends on what you like to see in your tea, right? Like, are you the kind of person who wants to preserve the original flavor of the tea? Or would you like to change something about the tea to make it your own? Or, you know, are you serving for someone else? Are you serving for yourself? Are you getting to know the tea for the first time, etc.? I'm the kind of person who likes to know what the tea is like. And then maybe later, I'll try to change it up. But I really, really like to see what the tea is at the very beginning. I just want to get to know it. So I really like dealing with just plain porcelain. Plain porcelain, which is why my cups that I use to taste are just kind of like plain porcelain as well. But I agree with you, Shiloh. I think it depends on the tea. In this case, we'll see. Yeah, let's start from this one here. So we'll start with pitcher A, the Taiwanese wood-fired pitcher. Let's try it out. Wow, that already tastes really different from what I expected from the Jun Chiyabari. For those of you coming in, we're testing Camellia sinensis' Jun Chiyabari Nepalese black tea. It's an autumn flush. Karen, I see that you're having a Nepal tea as well, and a bunch of us are having Jun Chiyabari. Not too bad. And having had it before, this is the most kind of like root vegetable, radishy, vegetal, earthy I've ever tasted it from the wood-fired pitcher. Interesting. Interesting. Wow, I really like it. And then there's that really sweet aftertaste that comes through. I've never observed this from the tea before. At the very end, it's so sweet. It's almost like a bar of milk chocolate. What? What the heck? Wow. Which I've actually tasted in Nepalese tea before. So it's not the first time I've seen that combo. All right. Let's move on to the glass. Okay. It's much lighter. It's a little bit smoother. Yeah, it's just a little lighter. It's a little more watery, I think. It feels to me like the texture is a little bit thinner as well. And instead of having a sweet finish, it has kind of like a rough finish on the throat. Aftertaste, I'm waiting for it to kick in. Waiting. Aftertaste? No. Not much of an aftertaste from the glass. Jeremy, I saw that you're also comparing a ceramic and glass pitcher for the Jun Chiyabari. Let us know what your results are so far. Yeah. Not a fan of the glass. And this can, factors into if you are brewing tea. I think, I was taught from the very beginning that you need a pitcher to kind of serve out the tea into different cups, right? And that's what I was told from the very beginning, and I've always defaulted to a glass pitcher because they always look very nice. But I found just through the years that actually glass is my least favorite material for just overall, fairness pitcher and cups. I think there is a time and place for it, and some of you on the Discord have tested it before and disagree with me. You actually like glass better than the porcelain, and that's totally fine. We have really diverse palates, different experiences, different things we like in the tea. My teacher in Taiwan, she really likes glass instead of porcelain. Her sister likes porcelain instead of glass, so it just depends on the person. But for me, so far the glass is not as good as the wood-fired pitcher for this tea. Let's move on to the next one. Last one, pitcher number 3, which is the porcelain pitcher. Cheers. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Huh. They're definitely all different. Alright, so, I felt like this was a little bit brighter and sweeter. It was a tiny bit more deep as well. It had more depth than the glass. But I would actually say that these two were much more similar to each other than the wood-fired pitcher was. The porcelain just tasted like a better version of the glass, or you can say like the glass tasted like a worse version of the porcelain. It is the last tea that I drank in this lineup, but even I think factoring in for the temperature differential, there's just not much depth I'm getting, not much sweetness, not much flavor I'm getting from this compared to the wood-fired. It's not bad. It's almost like the wood-fired makes the porcelain look bad. You won't really notice unless you're doing a side-by-side. So if you have the opportunity to do a side-by-side like this, please do it. I've had people be like, hey Ree, I tried it, I didn't really see a difference. And then my first question when someone does that is, did you do it side-by-side? Which, makes sense, we're not... We don't really grow up doing like, oh, okay, I'll have two pots and I'll pour them at the same time. It's not as intuitive, But trust me, if you are going to do this, don't think that your palate's not good enough. It will really take doing it side by side to tell the differences. And yes, it's not going to make or break your entire tea session, but we talked about this before. Just, improving your tea in increments. If you have a good tea, if your water's good, if your kettle's good, if your pour is good, your cups are good, your pitcher is good, your teapot's good, you're in a good mood, you feel good, your palate is pretty well trained, you didn't eat spicy food or, tons of like garlicky, oniony things right before the tasting, on and on. If you have 15 things that are working for you, even if each of those 15 things is only a 5% increase, you're gonna get a lot of mileage, if you stack those improvements up. Yeah. I'm going to stack some more of these. I'm going to do a couple more infusions just to see if I can pull anything else from this. And yes, I have tested these pitchers before. So am I surprised? Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I'm surprised by how well the wood-fired pitcher does with the tea. I will say that, wood-fired pieces, unglazed clay pieces, pieces with a very specific clay or glaze versus, just your run-of-the-mill, like mass-produced porcelain, which these two are. This is a handmade piece. It's been fired for like 5 to 7 days. I'm not sure which one this particular piece comes from, but the maker fires them for, anywhere between 5 and 7 days, rests them for, 1 to 3 days to cool down the temperature, and lets the ash kind of settle down, lets the pieces just cool down. It's a very intensive process, and it's made of like a blend of Taiwanese and Japanese clay, etc. But because they're such specialized pieces, we talked about this before, Jeremy. It's almost like if any of you do music, the best pieces of equipment will tend to do amazing with one thing, but maybe just okay with the other thing. I find that there's very few really, really high-end pieces that do amazing for everything. That's why you have your show pu'er pot, or your shang pu'er pot, or your, green tea pot. That's not to say that the green tea pot can't brew black tea at all, but I find that my best performing pieces will just do stellar with one thing, and then pretty okay with everything else. I mean, that's just kind of fair, right? Like, it's impossible for something to be good at everything. It's just not possible. Jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing, And because different kinds of teas have different kinds of compositions, it kind of makes sense, right? Like, how is it that a pot that can brew something with a lot of catechins and, theanine, but low on tannin, like a green tea, will brew amazingly and also brew a high tannin, high theaflavin, low theanine tea, meaning like a black tea, the same way. You know what I mean? For me, I just haven't seen it. Besides being a big guy one. Yeah. Shiloh silver teapots. I don't have a silver teapot, so I haven't been able to tell. I will be surprised if silver teapots can brew everything amazing, though. I mean, if someone would like to come over to our house and bring a silver teapot, sure thing. But even in tasting friends of silver teapots, they do well with some things, but I can still think of times when they did well, but I can think of something better that could handle the tea. But if not, then we should get into silver. Jeremy says on his side, glass is harsher, ceramic really softens it up in a good way. Okay, I get that too. The glass is a little bit harsh. Tyler decided to compare my glazed porcelain and glass pitchers with a Yunnan black from Herald Tea. Not a giant difference, but the malty tart notes is much more prominent with the glass. Yeah, it's not going to be a massive difference, but I think especially the more that we kind of fine-tune the way that we want our tea, sometimes just one note, if you can bring out one note, it can completely change the experience, completely change the taste of the tea. Because that chocolatey note I got on the aftertaste from the wood-fired was like, holy crap, really, really delicious. I want to see if I can chase that again. We'll see. Yeah. Delphine says, also useful to justify a huge teaware collection. But they all taste different. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, right? Or fortunate part. We love teaware. They're like your best friends for life, That's the thing. People are like, oh my god, you would buy a $200 pitcher? But it's like, well, I'll have it forever. You could have a $200 meal, which I respect too. Or you could have a $200 pitcher that you could have, infinite good times forever and ever. Pass it down to your children. Hopefully they like tea, and then they can pass it down to their children, and then hopefully they like tea too. Yeah. I won't apologize for our teaware collection tendencies. But even just basic teaware too, having just a glass versus a porcelain versus a, maybe unglazed clay pitcher. You don't have to, invest in extremely expensive teaware to get good results. These tasting cups that I use are actually like $1 each from the Asian store, and they're just the best kind of like solid, basic, dependable tasting cups. We have fancy cups from Jingdezhen and stuff like that, but I just like how basic they are. I have a group of 30 of these that I can use in like a tasting, so everyone has the same experience with the cups. Yeah, whatever works. All right, let's try this up again. Picture A, Taiwanese wood-fired piece, Taiwan-Japanese blend of clays. Picture 2, the glass, and then picture 3, the porcelain. if any of you are testing as well, maybe do a different or another infusion. I'll go from pitcher 3 backwards now. So when you're testing, again, try to mix up the direction that you go in, because the teas might stack. Let's say there might be tannin building up or like a dry feeling building up on your palate. If you don't mix it up, you might think that, you know, over and over again, oh, this one's bitter, the third one's bitter, but it might be because you're building up the tea components from here to here. So once you get to the third one, of course your mouth's gonna feel like tea. All right, porcelain first, glass, and then wood-fired teaware. Better. I don't know if it's because it's hotter this time. That's also what we're trying to factor in. We're letting the porcelain show itself with a hotter temperature this time. I am getting more flavor, a little bit more depth. Let me try to go through it faster instead of talking the whole time. Glass pitcher. Glass pitcher. I love you, friend. We always use a glass pitcher because it's just beautiful to look at. It really offsets how, you know, muted it is when you look at how beautiful the tea is in the glass pitcher. But in a side by side like this, it's just... yeah. Alright. And then the wood-fired pitcher. See, in this direction, I don't like it as much. I still like it better than the others. But there is that tanniny buildup going on as the tea is cooling down. I think that's changing the effect. What I do know is definitely glass is not my favorite. Let's compare these two. I'm gonna move aside the glass. And then now, you know, it's been fun doing side by side, seeing what works and what doesn't. Now, you know, think about what you're trying to portray in the tea. My favorite thing to do with a tea, if I don't know who I'm pouring for and I just want to show off a tea, is I want the tea to speak for itself. So if I can make this tea taste like a Nepalese tea and make someone fall in love with it, I'm going to do it. So if I can make it taste like a Fujian black tea or a Yunnan black tea or an osmanthus-scented oolong, like you guys are drinking, it's not going to be as good as those things. So let me find the combination that will let the Nepalese tea be better than it actually is and show what it wants to be. So often I want something to taste like a Taiwan oolong, but if I'm trying to make a Vietnamese oolong taste like a Taiwan oolong, I'm just gonna want a Taiwan oolong. So I'm gonna try to see if I can capture the, you know, the flavor, which one captures the flavor better between the two. For me. So wood-fired again versus the porcelain. Any updates for you guys who are doing this side by side too? Wow, okay. Now that I've eliminated something in the middle. Yeah, the porcelain has more drying texture going on. Wood-fire is just doing better for me, I'd say. Can someone call the Teaware Addicts Association? We need them to round up a couple folks on the Tea Curious chat. Including Ree. Oh my god. I'm just always daydreaming about new teaware. Next thing I'd like to get is that Shigaraki friggin' teapot from Hojo Tea. Can someone not buy that while I wait to, like, you know, order it? And I want it because it seems to make tea taste more savory and salty, and I want to be able to make gyokuro just a little bit more minerally salty, because sometimes gyokuro is so umami, it's like you're floating in like a bathtub full of theanine and amino acids. It's like, wow, it's really umami, which I like. But if you can put just something a little bit more interesting on the bottom, like a little bit more mineral, salty kind of notes, it can kind of bring up everything. You can kind of think of it like ice cream, you know? Completely sweet ice cream is boring because it's just one note. If you can put just a tiny bit of bitterness in there, a tiny bit of saltiness, just to lift up the entire profile. The same thing happens with tea. a tea that's like an umami bomb, it's just 100% umami, is not going to be that interesting. Maybe it will the very first time. You're like, oh my god, it's like drinking butter, holy crap. But then after that, you know, it needs a little bit of interest to catch people's attention, I think. And yeah, I think that the wood fire is just giving that Nepalese tea that extra push. And yeah, I want that shigaraki pot. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, so you don't get it. Yeah, and then there's this potter guy in Portland. He was at Portland PDX. He had this amazing talk about dye ceramics. He's really cool, you know. He went and studied ceramics with the dye ceramicists in Yunnan, where they make clay out of the soil that they grow the tea trees from. I mean, come on! I forgot his name, but I want to get teapots from him. Yeah, Steven?
Yeah,
do you remember that? Who was that? But seriously, Shiloh, that was really inspiring. Isn't it cool, the idea of getting a pot from the same material that grew the tea trees? It's just so cool. And you know, honestly, there's a lot of the teaware world is centered in just one area, which is like the kind of like Han Chinese style of teaware, like a porcelain gaiwan, right? It's very like Eastern Chinese. But even within China, there's so many different kinds of, you know, small minority groups that will have their own pottery styles. When I went to the Philippines, I had a friend, Cheryl, who's also a ceramicist now, who said, hey, the Philippines has an amazing pottery culture. Why don't we make teaware? And I'm like, wow, yeah. And, you know, a typical, you know, someone who likes to collect the very, like, perfect, like, Chinese teaware or established teaware, you know, styles already might find it to be like, oh, why bother when, like, this stuff is so perfectly made, which is true. They got the techniques down, they got, like, the style down, but there is something to say about, like, a new area or a new technique or even a new individual who's always going to put their personal, like, taste and personal techniques in the tea that will make the tea taste different. So I forgot who it was, but I remember someone bought some French clay that was styled into like a like Eastern style teapot. In Taiwan, they're working with American clay a lot, you know. The dye potters in Yunnan, I'm sure in India there's some pottery we're not aware of yet, just because you think about it, why don't we seek out Indian pottery when I'm sure it's out there, but there's not really that kind of demand yet for it, maybe because they haven't learned how to do teaware yet. That's the case for like Philippine teaware. But yeah, keep your eyes out. And just because something isn't necessarily like a classic, you know, Jingdezhen or Dehua, like porcelain, of course those things are wonderful, but also branch out and see what other kind of like approaches are being taken. The shigaraki clay that I mentioned from Hojo tea is not like a typical classic clay. You know, it's not a famous clay, but if the potter knows what they're doing and tests the materials out with the tea, you know, it's just more stuff, more tools for us to bring more from the tea, which is really cool, because then you can have one tea and have it 100 different ways, 100 different profiles if you're switching out your clays. Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, let me step down from the teaware addicts. We call the teaware police. They're like, yeah, her, the one who's ranting on the soapbox. Arrest her first. Then we heard that there's that guy who lectured about dye pottery. Arrest him too. Shiloh, thank you for that presentation. Was it last week? I think it was last week. I agree. So many unique styles. It's really amazing. Coming from someone who just used to be obsessed with like porcelain gaiwans all the time. Yes, they're nice, neutral. They'll, you know, usually, you know, interact with the tea extremely well. Just like basic, nice, high quality porcelain gaiwan like this. But don't be afraid to mix it up, and don't be afraid to test your teapots for sure. Even if someone's like, that's a show pour pot, put balyosha in it, put sencha in it. So you just see what happens. Yeah. Welcome to our friends who just popped in. Teaspoon Views, Onja Kukai, Miza Yen. Who did I miss? Oh, Nicholas from Tea Traveler. I think Hide Stock popped into. Henrique, welcome to today's tea practice. Hope you guys are doing well. I think I want to test these pictures out with a different tea. I will say, and bear with me, this is not the most straightforward resolution to this experiment. I like the effect of the tea in the wood-fired pitcher. It gets the kind of like earthy, bassy, like it's just got some more character. It's got more depth and warmth to it. It's really, really nice. But it's kind of not perfect because it loses a little bit of that bright kind of citrusy, aromatic, like the high notes that I really like in Nepalese tea. So beyond just the pitcher, I like the pitcher. It's not bad. I like it better than the other two. But if you're testing, maybe if I can get a pot that makes the tea just a tiny bit brighter, so that when I pour the tea into the wood-fired pitcher, it maintains some of the high notes, maybe it might be a better result. So what I'm saying is I like the way that this tea does in the wood-fired pitcher, but it needs some more brightness. So what I would do, if I could, is to try to find a teapot that matches well with the wood-fired pitcher, so I can combine those two effects as a final result. I know it's a little bit more complicated. It's not like, oh, this is perfect, I love it. But the thing is, it's not perfect. I don't love it. It's pretty good, but it's not the absolute best I think I can get from this tea. Yeah, I think that maybe, like my Bone China Gaiwan might do a little bit better than this one. Yeah, my Long Quan Celadon Gaiwan, thinking about it. Yeah, I've got some options, but that's up to you guys. But test one variable first. Once you get to know your pitchers, know what they do. I tend to know what, even before I test these teas in experiments, I tend to know what will happen to the tea once I put them into these pitchers. Yeah, then you get to know your teaware a little bit more, for sure. That reminds me, I hope you guys are ready for July, which is going to be a teaware-oriented challenge. You know, those of you who are in the Discord already know this, but we will be doing teaware for next month's challenge. And again, the person who is hosting it is not going to be me or Steven. It's going to be someone else. We've kidnapped someone from the Tea Curious community to go host it for us. And I'm really excited because we're going to be doing some teaware related experiments, teaware related deep diving. It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited. So for those of you who are interested in this, I've caught you on here. I know you guys like side-by-sides. I know you guys like teaware. Watch out for July. We'll be doing lots of experiments together to try to learn about the stuff. As much as I thank you so much for tuning in and, watching the stuff with us. But nothing better than actually getting you guys to do this side-by-side too. It looks a little bit intimidating at first. Do I have a good palette? My teaware is not that good, but don't worry about it. It's going to be worth it. Jeremy says, wood-fired teapot with a wood-fired pitcher. Let's try that. Steven, can you hand me a wood-fired teapot? Maybe from the same maker. Yeah. Will they get mad at us? So those pots I seasoned for Taiwanese oolong because they're from my teacher in Taiwan. But honestly, we will actually brew tea in pots that are seasoned for something else because I'm not the biggest believer in seasoning on its own. I think the pot and its just physical structure is more important than the seasoning that you develop over time. I'm sure it can help. Have I tested it side by side? No. But I feel like we put more stock in the seasoning of the pot than just the pot's structure and soul in itself. So let's see. Jeremy, let's see if we can change this up. Yeah, let's do that. Instead of switching out the tea, we'll do the same side by side, but with a pot that's wood-fired as well, which is nice. So we started out with the Jun Chiyabari in a porcelain gaiwan into these 3 different gaiwans, wood-fired, glass, and porcelain. Let's switch out one variable. We will switch out the gaiwan and brew the tea in the wood-fired pot instead of post them and see if our results differ. They will. In the meantime, while I set up, let me know how you guys are doing. Any pots you guys want to, break out for the teaware challenge next month? I'm not going to get into the details yet, but you will have a chance to kind of get to know your teaware a little bit more during July. And I'm really excited for that. Do you need a lot of teaware? Nah. You can get so much done with just like 2 different gaiwans, 2 different bowls, 2 different cups. It'll be fun. Steven, want to try these out? Yeah, let's try them out. See which one you like better. It's also nice to have a friend, because all of our palettes are different. And I'm a little stuffy today. I'm not sure you guys can tell. We went and played with some friends' dogs, so I'm all sniffly. I'm actually allergic to pets, even if we have pets, but they're just so cute. I'm allergic to the loneliness that comes without having a pet, so I'm like deathly allergic to that. Thoughts, Steven, about these? And for those of you who are just popping in, I will take this opportunity to show off how beautiful this tea is again. This is from Camellia sinensis. It is the Jun Chiyabari Autumn Flush. Actually a really well-priced tea. Perfect leaves. Really beautiful. Really, really dig it. We'll brew this a second time with a fresh batch of water to do this test side by side again. So now, not only are we learning how different pitchers will affect the taste of the tea, we'll test how different teawares will interact differently with different pitchers. Yeah, just be aware of it, Aesthetic is good, but the pitcher you choose will change your destiny. At least for the next hour. As you drink tea. Now here's a question. Pitcher or no pitcher? Do you guys like to brew with a pitcher, typically? Or do you like to brew bowl brew, or straight into the cups, or, any kind, pouring straight into cups, distributing them? Or maybe you brew solo most of the time, so you don't need a fairness pitcher? Here's to see what you guys do. I used to always use a pitcher even if I was brewing solo. It's just what I saw, it's what all the YouTube videos showed me, it's what everyone was doing back then, so I just followed. Now, it's like a mix, half and half, more or less. I do like the cleanliness of it. I love the appearance of tea of any kind in a glass pitcher. Yeah. Terry Teapot, welcome. Tyler says, I hate that I can't Google teapots and watch at the same time. Pull up a laptop, dude. Well, I'll Google them for you. Right, Steven? Usually Steven is either watching TV or shopping for stuff while we're live, so. And occasionally when I'm really lucky, oh my god, you are shopping for teaware, what the hell? He's actually shopping for teaware. He just showed me the laptop. Okay, Steven. You guys ready for this? Alright. So this is from the same maker as this wood-fired pot. Maker is Chen Yonghong from Taiwan. I should have mentioned that first. Shiloh, I like the fact that you always credit the people who make your ceramics. I really dig that. I think we should do that more, because we're starting to credit more the makers of the tea. I think should credit more the teapot makers too. So this is from Chen Yonghong in Taiwan. He's a kiln fire. He likes to make pots as well. He's very artistic. He, whenever I see batches of his teapots, they always change form. I feel like he gets bored of the same form over and over again. So he really pushes the boundaries and completely makes his forms by hand, without machine assistance. I'm so bad at talking about these technical things out loud. Yeah. We just really love him. He is one of my teacher's friends. He gives her pots and then she gives him tea, and they drink her tea together in his pots. It's so lovely. And whenever you find a potter who actually drinks tea as well, you guys already know, teapots are gonna turn out really good, man, because they drink tea too. Imagine trying to buy tea from someone who doesn't drink tea, or imagine trying to buy cookware from someone who doesn't cook. You know, it's a very different experience, I think, if the ceramicist you're working with also drinks tea. Yeah. All right. Just make sure to preheat this guy. Yeah, we love these pots. This is the same maker as the pot that I used last year for the competition here in Vegas. He has a couple different clay blends. And yes, I think this one is a little bit more high-fired. Or, you know, the pores closed up more than the rough mountain clay one he has. So even within the same potter, there's different clay blends you'll get that will change the flavor of your tea. Right. Let's get started. So let's see now how using a different pot combined with the same pitchers will change the effect of the pitchers. Let's do that. Ooh, I like the smell of this already. Really lush. TJ, think it might be good. Thanks for the suggestion. I like your idea better than mine to do a completely other tea. And those of you who are just joining us, let us know what you guys are drinking. A couple of us drinking some Nepalese tea. I think we had some white tea from Karen from Nepal. A couple of Jun Chiyabari folks also hopping onto the tea, the Nepalese tea game. Oh my god, I'm just dropping the ball here. My goodness. Whew. All right, ready? Yeah. I think I almost dropped the wood-fired pitcher. I almost dropped the glass pitcher. Then I almost dropped that whole bag of still open Nepalese Jun Chiyabari. Yeah, I'm just having a day, I guess. It's Saturday. All right. Steven, which one did you like the best out of the three from the first experiment?
That's a hard one.
Yeah. Oh my
I
god.
think the wood fired.
The pour of this pot is so gorgeous.
I didn't love the glass.
The wood fire was your favorite?
I think so.
All right. Okay. Let's get at it. I'm not gonna stack too many. I'm just gonna try this one here. Just one infusion, distributed over the three pitchers. Let's start with a wood-fired one. Is that okay? Tea for you. Welcome to tea practice today. And Anna, nice to see you. Yeah, we like the spot too. We really like the spot. It's really lovely. It also looks different on the other side. It's really hot. Yeah, okay. So let's start with the porcelain first. Let's do that first. Let's just mix it up. Oh my god, this pot is so good. Why do we even use porcelain garlands anymore? Oh my god. I feel alive. Wow, this pot is so delicious. I didn't even steep it that long. I barely put any leaf in it for how big the pot is. It's super good. Wow. It's so sweet. Oh my goodness. Jun Chiyabari. We gotta send them some time with fired pots. I'm sure they have good pots too, but holy crap. The pot is so good with the tea. I'm excited for the side-by-side now, since, you know, we're testing how this pot, which apparently tastes really good with the tea, will interact with the different pitchers. So porcelain already so much better than the porcelain and the porcelain Gaiwan combo. I'm not sure if the wood fire and wood fire will stack. Sometimes if you have too much of the same material, in your series, you know, pot into pitcher into cup, it might be a little bit too much. We'll see. Aftertaste is so good too. Oh my god. When we were brewing this tea in the porcelain guy one, it did not have that much aftertaste, I would say. Especially in the porcelain. It has a Hawaiian kind of like cooling aftertaste going on, which we did not get in the Gaiwan at all. So this combo, the wood-fired with a porcelain pitcher, is already better than any of the other porcelain Gaiwan pitcher combos. Wow, it's crazy. Oh, the glass is horrible. It's even worse than in the porcelain Gaiwan. So oh my god, it's so bad. Why? Why is glass so... Whew, okay, so we did not like glass either on the first round. Yeah, wow. It's not great. The wood-fired in the glass is worse than the Gaiwan vessel and glass pitcher combo. It's just rough. It's just not right. It's just not driving. Yeah, it's just not going very well. It's like someone pushed Steven off while he was playing guitar and he fell on the ground and made some guitar sounds, but they're not really that great. But he's still playing guitar technically. It's not good. I'm sorry, Glass. I really love you. I'm not trying to be mean to my teaware, but it's not. This is not meant to be. Okay, let's test to see. The wood-fired pitcher with the wood-fired pot is the same maker. Probably around the same year that he made this too. Similar firing, you know. Yeah. This particular artist seems to have like cycles he goes through. He's done everything from like this color to like deep, like metallic blue and gray pots. It's crazy what he does. But Anna says, I wonder if the aromatics would get lost in multiple wood-fired vessels since the clay is much more porous. I think that's what we've observed too. We'll see what happens here. Yeah. What Anna says. It's lacking aromatics. Absolutely on point. It's muted, it's lacking aromatics, it's not my favorite combo. Yeah. Wood-fired pot with a porcelain pitcher is really good. This makes sense to me because while the pitcher is important, it's not the primary vessel you're using to affect the tea. So if you're thinking about like material and heat retention and pour and how well it matches, your pot is going to be your major player to make that happen. If the initial vessel is doing like an okay job, and then you have an amazing vessel that you pour it into, it only has like so much of an effect on the tea versus your vessel. I mean, versus, yeah, your brewing vessel. So that kind of makes sense, right? Like the porcelain Gaiwan, porcelain vessel with wood-fired pitcher was our favorite. But we're like, wait, the wood-fired tastes so good in the pitcher, why not use a wood-fired material as a pot to like just double down on that effect? And then use porcelain, which is the least quote-unquote reactive. It kind of like it just preserves what the pot is trying to do. So we're like, yeah, let's bring our winner pot, and then don't fuck with it. Using the porcelain. It's just, yeah, perfect. Like a symphony. That's just perfect. So I'm all amped up. It's like, yeah, that's good. So when you're doing side-by-sides like this, I want you to wait until you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, like that's the one. That's the combo, because if you're like, it's pretty good, then it's not, I don't think it's quite enough. Wait until that, like, frick yeah, that's the combo. Those two work really, really well. Yeah, good. Really delicious. That's beautiful. And let me tell you, the differences between these 6 combinations are massive. I think you could make anyone fall in love with the taste of the Jun Chiyabari with this combo here. It brings out what I want in Nepalese tea. It fits me. I think it's really easy drinking. Just delicious. And yes, Anna, you know, I love our glass pitchers. There are standard pitchers because we love looking at the color of the tea too. But, you know, different goals for different situations. Yeah? So, yeah, in this case, we found our winner chicken dinner. Thanks for the suggestion, Jeremy. That went really well. If you have any questions about this, let us know. Yeah. Do some picture tests. Look out for July's teaware challenge, okay? Have a nice weekend. Thanks for joining us. Bye!